Hi, welcome. So in this video, we are going to do a project with Excel. It's a small project, but it's going to teach you a lot about all that you've been learning from a couple of formulae and how to bring out all the analytics process together from cleaning, being able to do some modeling, dashboards especially, so that you can be able to fit those pieces together and put them to use. Remember, we always say it's good to build projects. So this is an example of a good project where you could use, and if you talk about this in an interview, all the things that you've done to be able to get to the solution, this will already show that you are very prepared to do some analysis work, and you are able to do that in Excel and even in other related tools, because some of the principles like cleaning, collecting data, problem framing, they are always the same. Dashboards will still be the same in Power BI, but then you're going to be able to go through that cycle and try to solve a problem like a company, like as if this is a problem from a company. And for those of you who are working, you know that some kind of this kind of problem is close to some of the things that you would be seeing daily. So let's just go straight and look at the problem and try to find a solution, and at the same time learn and recall some of the things we have been learning. So here I have this data set. I'll share that with you. So the data set has there's a staff sheet, customer sheet, sales sheet, and then some requirements. So the requirements are like produce a dashboard which will help show the following performance: sales per product. So we want to see the sales per product, total profit per product, which are the most profitable products, profit per unit for each product. So we want to know the profit per unit so that we know the higher volume of that product, the more profitable it will be, and also by country. And then we also want to know the profit per staff. So let's just say the staff is a sales staff. So we want to know which staff are more performant. And then we also want to get the trends of units sold over time. So over time, how many units have we been selling? Have the demand been increasing or decreasing? So it will also start giving you ideas of which kind of charts to use. So you know, maybe here we need a trend line because it's a trend over time. So it brings all the pieces of what we've been learning together. So you can always go back and start this series and try to understand all of these things. And then we'll say would love to be able to view data by customer country. So we might have something to be able to switch between country one, country two, and see the effect. And then you might want to see by continent, and also maybe by customer sex. So are the male customers more profitable, or do we have more sales from them, or more units sold from the male or from the female? So it's really an interesting project which is able to bring those pieces together, and let's try to solve a problem like you are in a company and then you're trying to bring insight using your exploratory data analysis and also your descriptive analysis, your diagnostic analysis. So you can always go back and look at all these concepts. We've been reviewing them in previous videos. So remember, in the analytics process, you would typically start with the business problem. So this was the problem. Maybe we want to see how to shake up sales. So we discuss, and then we say, okay, maybe these are the KPIs we'd like to see. On the other hand, you could just be an analyst and you understand the business so well. So you go into the data set and then you say, I think we should present sales per product, total profit per product, profit per unit, profit per staff. So whatever the business problem framing is, that this is what we want to get from you. Then you collect the data. So let's say the next step, you collect the data from the staff table, came from maybe the human resource. So you ask them, can you send me all the staff you have? So in a big company, you just log into a system and download this data to get all about the staff. But let's say you got it from somewhere, maybe this was sent to you. These are the staff we have. I just want to keep it small and simple so that you are able to see end to end what is going on and better assimilate it, rather than have so much big data and then you're like confused between problem of solving the big data or solving the analytics problem. So this is a simple problem. We have these 9 staff, and male, female. This is their matricule numbers and their unique numbers. Now for customers, we have these customers, keeping them simple. Remember, even for the staff, you could have the date of birth, date of employment, the manager, the salary. There could be so many attributes to a staff, but let's keep it simple and move on. Same with customers, you have the customer code. So let's say we think we have 20 customers. So the codes are in order. There's no duplicate, and the names are here: Mr. Michelle Brown, Mr. George, and the country USA, Togo, Cameroon, Holland. And then we see that, okay, this is what we have. So we could just maybe come here, and then we try to do some exploratory data analysis just to see, is there anything? So we see that we have the 9, the 20 here, for example. It looks okay. Then we have maybe these names, just okay. There's Mr., Mrs. It looks okay. Then there are these countries: Brazil, Cameroon, Holland, Japan, Nigeria. Okay, it looks relatively okay. Then we move on to the sales. Now for the sales, we see that there are these dates. So if we click here, we could see that we could even have years. And then here we have the products. So we could click here just to see. So there are these possibilities of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 products. There's flour, there's sugar, there's milk, there's rice, salt. Okay. Now we can look at the staff code. So we see again the 9 staff code appear here. So it reminds us that this is linked to this table. So this is the primary key here, which is determining each staff, this matrix number. And then here, this is here is a foreign key because it links to this other table here. So it's interesting to know that now we see them Peter, and then when we click here, but we see something is wrong here. As you can see, just by some quick view of the data, you see that there's Angela, there's Angelan, and there's Angelina. Let's check here just briefly to see. So you could do that with the formula, but let's just see. So we have Angela, but we don't have Angelina and all that. But let's see if the employee number is same or different. We can go back there, and then we go back again to the Angela, Angelan, and Angelina, and just to check and see. So if we see, we click here. So what do we see? We see that the employee number is 006, which is for Angela, and which means there was some wrong data entry here. And this is a common problem. So that is what when we're learning Excel in the earlier videos, we talked about data validation. So maybe there was no list to be able to stop anybody from typing any name that the person wants, and it will just go through. So you need now to clean this, and that's an example of the data cleaning, because you can't do a report with this. You have so many names here. So if I let's say I go here, I select all, I click on OK, I copy this here, and then I come to this side and I just paste it here. Now if I go here to my home, then I go to, if I go to like data, and then I go to this line, this thing here, this ribbon here, remove duplicates. So if I click here and I click on OK, it tells me there are 675 duplicate values found and removed. So 25 unique values remaining. Now we don't have 25 staff. Peter, yes. Emily, yes. Nina, but Nina, this is still another issue. So we see that we might not be able to trust these names, or we can either clean the names, and then, or we can use just the customer code, because the customer codes seem to be more reliable. So this is an example of how you're going to think when you want to clean your data. So now that is noted. We'll come to that. So we are just doing some kind of exploratory, just trying to understand, understand patterns, understand what is there, and be able to assess the quality of the data and see if it's worth it, or say, no, this data is not good enough, let's just reject it and get something more reliable. Now we know the problem. We might just completely maybe ignore this one, or clean it, or get a new column and call it cleaned staff names, and then we clean this one to be able to get the right one. So Peter should really be Peter, Nina should be Nina. So if you see this, so if we use this employee matricule, we can get this. So I'll come to that, but let's just try to go through to understand what we have at hand. The next thing is the unit sold. Okay, from 200 to 4,000. Okay, nothing. Yeah, it's okay. That's the unit sold. Then the revenue. It's the revenue. You can go down. So, okay, it looks okay. Then we have the cost. It looks okay. And then we also have the customer code. So this customer code, customer 01, 02, 020. So it means all these our customers here, they are linked. So it means, for example, that this sale of 1725 units was sold by Peter. This is the right Peter. And employee 01, Peter. We'll clean the names here and we'll know if it's the right Peter. And then this is the revenue that they got. So this one now is if we have this, so this should be revenue per unit. Then this is the cost. And then this is the customer code. So this customer 019, where is the customer? Mr. William Neighbor from Holland. So remember when we're talking about these tables, we can't for every cell put in all these tables, pull in all the values, the staff name, sex, born on this day, everything, started work on this day, this manager sold, the unit sold was this amount, the revenue, everything here, customer born on this day or whatever, the name, the sex, the country, the continent, how many years of loyalty, things like that. So the table will be so huge and there will be lots of redundant information. So that's why we're managing a database with primary keys and foreign keys, and all this is a good practice. So now, what are our requirements? Now that we have an idea, what are our requirements? We say we'll need to see sales per product, total per profit, profit per unit, profit per staff. So normally they'll need to see the staff names, because many people will not remember the matricule, but they will remember the staff names. So we must clean that staff name. And then trends of units sold over time. And then we're also seeing customer country, customer continent. But now let's go back here. Did we see anything like continent? No. Customers here, did we see anything like continent? No. But can we get the continent from the countries? Yes, we can get the continent from the country. So for example, we can be able to say, if we get this list again, let's just get this list, copy. So remember, you just need a couple of things in Excel, and then you're able to solve so many problems. I'm removing the duplicates again. Okay, I have now these countries, and then I'm going to say maybe the continent, and then I would say, okay, manually this is Europe, this is US, America, I'll just say America, sorry, America, this is Africa, still, Holland, Europe, Japan, Asia, Uganda, Africa, Nigeria, Africa, Brazil, America. So what will I do with this? I will now use a VLOOKUP. Remember in the previous videos when we were looking at the functions, we said one of those key tools that an analyst needs to know is the VLOOKUP, because if you're learning like SQL, you the equivalent of the joins, the left join, the right join, the inner join, the outer join is very, very important. That's one of the things that analysts distinguish themselves maybe from other fields, maybe web design, developers, because you really have to use these joins and VLOOKUP most of the time, as you would see even in this project. So I am going to get now the continent in, because it's required. And this is just an example to show you how you can do feature engineering to enrich your data so that you can see more dimensions of the data than you were looking at before. So the VLOOKUP, if you haven't looked at it, we already have a video for VLOOKUP earlier, so you can go check out. So here we are going to say lookup USA, and then where in this here, and where is it on the second column? and is a value true, approximate match is an exact match you want. So we press that enter. So now we have here America. So if I click, you see we have Africa, Europe, Africa, America. So now we have the continent. So if we go to our requirements, we are sure we should be able to get the continent. Now we talked about customer sex. Let's go back here. Do we have customer sex here? No. So we don't have customer sex, and we still have to do some feature engineering to get in the customer sex. But how do we do that? It's good because we have the names here: Mr., Mrs., Mrs., Mr., Mrs., Mr., Mrs. So we could be able to use these first few initials to determine if someone is male or female. So let's do that now. So I'll just show you again. If, for example, we insert here, I'll just do that, but then we can come back and change it here. So if we say, for example, the first level is to do a slicing. I want to slice, just take out the Mr. and the Mrs. But then there are 3 digits, 1, 2, 3. Because if I just take out the first 2, it will just be Mr. And if I take out the 3, there will be Mr. plus a space here. So this is equal to left. Now the left, and then I'm going to get this. And remember this formula, we have looked at it already. So you can always go back and check. What are the number of characters that we need from here? The first 3, because we want the M, the R, and then the space for Mr. and S for Mrs. So we go to 3, and then we close this, enter. So now we have this level. If we double click here, you see we have the Mrs. Every Mrs. you sliced it. So we can now get the sex from here using another formula, which is the if formula. If you can't remember that, you can just go back and check a previous video. We've already looked at the if function. So not to waste time, we'll not go through those principles again here. So just say equals to if. Now you're saying if this, the logical test, remember here, if that now equals to Mr. what condition, and remember you have to keep that space because this was 3 characters you used. So because there will also be, you could have still put Mrs. It could still be if that is equals to Mrs. And then you close that, and then you say what is the value if true, you put female. And what is the value if false, you put male. Then you close it and you press enter. So you see we have the male. So Michael is a male. Let's double click here. Regina is female. Robert is male. So fine. So which means that we could just take off this stage and then we keep this one. So the first thing is to, if we take this off without changing it, it's if we take it off, like here, yeah, by the default to male. Let me just take a female. So let me go back here. Default value is male. So if we take this off, it changes to male. So we have to copy paste spatial. Remember we looked at this in the previous video. So this is just a project for you to see how to bring all those things together, because learning the concepts like that, but now bringing them together to solve a problem is what you'll be using, and it's a project which you can share and talk about how you solve this. It brings all those parts together and makes you see how to add value in real life. So I'm going to copy this, right click, remember the paste space spatial we learned. I could click here, or I could use this one as a shortcut to the paste spatial. But if you remember the course we did earlier, the one I shared earlier, paste spatial, values, press OK. So now when I take away these Mrs., they don't affect that. So I can easily take off this one, and then I add this to become sex. So you see, I'm doing some feature engineering. I am creating new features just from these old features. So you might have data, and the data is already enough for you to help create another dimension. So now we'll be able to see sales per sex, but just like this, we're not able to see sales per sex. So now we should be able to see it just by using some feature engineering and creating this new dimension. That is very interesting to know. So let's go back here again. Remember, we talked about staff. So let us look at staff now. And here, where is our sales again? So we said these names are not clean. So we could either come match them here. Maybe Rachel is Rachel, then do the same VLOOKUP like you've seen. You see, we've just been using mostly the VLOOKUP, which I said is very important. Rachel, then we match them. Or we simply just bypass all of these staff names and just use the matricule numbers, these employee numbers, and say equal to VLOOKUP this, comma, going back to the staff table here, number 2, comma, 2, comma, 0, and then we press enter. So this is Peter, and when I pull this is Peter is correct, it's Peter. Robert, this is Robert. Peter, you see Rachel, this is the right spelling. So we could just simply use this and then maybe ignore this one here. So I'll just leave it for now, but that is the principle. So I'll go down to check if everything is there, and then I see that okay, the formula has gone down right down there. So let me see again. This is cleaning and feature engineering still. Remember, it takes a lot of time. Building the dashboard will just be a couple of minutes, extra, but really being able to understand the data, clean the data, prepare it to be able to get those hidden insights is really one of the things that you bring on the table in real life. So here you have sales per product, which I can get. These are the products here. If I go back here, these are the products. So I could match the products to the sales revenue. The sales revenue, good. Profit per product, I could match the profit here on this side. So now, where is the profit? We have the revenue, we have the cost. So how do we get profit? That again is your domain understanding. Insert profit. This is equal to revenue minus cost. So we've now created another feature again. So we are able to get product sales, product per sales, product per cost, product per profit by, again, as we said, understanding the business domain knowledge and also understanding how to use all these figures like statistics, and also how to be able to understand really what you want to convey. So now let us go here. You look at profit per unit for each product by country. So this is a profit per unit. So which means you still have to come here, insert, go to profit per unit, profit per unit, and then from that we are able to say this is equal to this divided by the unit sold. Enter. So when we click on that, double click, we have the profit per unit. So again, you are able to see that we have those sort of things. Profit per staff, we've already added the staff. Trends of units sold over time. So now we should be able to have most of what we need. And if, for example, you see here that you have years, we could even have analysis, which is I want to see the revenue per year. So remember, we did the formula for dates. We can go and watch an earlier video. So this is equal to year. Then it's going to take out the year from here, and I'm just going to convert this to a number so that you can see clearly. So 2019, when I double click here and to pull it down, you see that here we just clearly have 2 years. So we could easily plot the graph of 2 years, this maybe versus the products here. But like this, there are so many date in between. So it's going to be more. You could as well use the month formula, or the day, and be able to create. So you're learning how to bring together all the formula that you've learned, and now you have your data set. So your data is kind of ready to go to the pivot table. So we could take out this one, it's not a problem. And then we say, okay, now let us go to insert, pivot table. And then we are going to say, create a new worksheet, go to okay. And then we name this now pivot one. Pivot one. And what is the requirement? First requirement saying we want to see sales per product. So pivot one, we are going to put product. We are going to put the product. And then we are going to put the sales revenue. So with that, if you, let me increase this. So if you insert a chart, you see that this chart would be appropriate. And then we could name this, okay, I deleted it instead. Let me undo. So we could take this out. And then now, remember, your charts have options, design options, like add chart title, for example. So we could say, for example, revenue per product. Now remember, like we saw last video, you have to take off these things here. So let's go back to this, and then we take off this so that it becomes a normal chart. Then now we create our dashboard here. Saw that in the last video. We are just trying to bring them together so you get the end-to-end feel of how it looks like. Dashboard. And then now we are going to take this, let me just put this here. Take this pivot table, go to move chart here, move. Then we take it to the dashboard and click on OK. So this is our revenue per product, and as per the requirement, that is the first one. Now total profit per product, again, you remember we are just going to go here, click on insert, pivot table, new pivot again. Now we call this pivot 2, and then I'll just put it here just to for consistency, pivot 2. And then the pivot 2 says that we want profit per product. So let me increase this here. Then we go to profit. So where is profit? His profit now should be here. That's the value. And then we want the product. So we want to see the profit per product. So remember, we talked about how to choose charts, and these are the right charts for this situation. So you can always go back and watch the video to know the best chart for this. So this one looks good. I'll click on OK. And I can also go here, and then we go to design, maybe look at something a bit more interesting. Let's say I'll just select something there just to highlight a few things. So you could pick up any one. I'll just take this one. Then again, I click here. Remember, we don't want these filters, so we will go back to the chart here, take it off so that it becomes a normal chart. And then we name this now like profit per product. Let me just name it profit per product. Now again, I could just take out this total. I don't need it. You could continue to design the chart. I'll not go through that. We already did that in another video. So you can always go back to those early videos and look at them. So where do I want to take this to the dashboard? So again, this is the second one here at the side. So let's put it there. And then now, what is the next requirement we want? We want to get profit per unit for each product, and also by country. So I'm going to go here, go to insert, pivot table, create a new one again, call it pivot 3. So I hope you are getting now the pattern and you're seeing how to put these together. It's just to understand how to fit those dots together. So the requirement is saying profit per unit for each product and also per country. So we can go to profit per unit. This is the profit per unit here. And then we can get products, and then we can get maybe country. So now, okay, where is our country? We need to go back here, go to sales, and then we bring in the country. So you see, we have to go here, and then we say, okay, customer country, yes. So again, VLOOKUP equals to, now we do our VLOOKUP, customer code. Now, by now, after doing this, you should be first with VLOOKUP. So we know that the country should be the third. We already saw that in another video. So we are going to go to 3 0 0 and then we close. So you can always go back and check on the pivot table if you are missing out on that. So we have that, and then we can just do the continent too still. So customer continent, still VLOOKUP, we go equals to VLOOKUP again. So you just need a couple of functions, you know how to use them, and you will not have any issues with doing any task on Excel. So 1 2 3 4, yeah, it's the fourth. So I'll just go to the fourth, comma 0, press enter. So that's Europe, and if I double click here, that's it. So I'll just go back to my pivot table, go here, go to design, here, change data, and then now I want to include these two. So if you see, it's from up to M, so I want it to go to O. So I could just go here and then I add an O and I press enter, and then if you check here, you have the customer country and the customer continent. I'll do same here, change. So again, remember it's O, it's an O, press enter, and then we have the same here. So it's good you're seeing how to refresh data with your pivot table. So again, here I'm going to go to change data again, then I change this from M to O, and then I press enter. So we have all that here. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So here you can put the country like customer country. So we see like that. So we could still decide, okay, we want the view to be more like this, again, based on your what you want. So this is profit per unit, and it's good to get an average, not the sum, because you're trying to get the average to see which is most profitable. So let's get this out, and then we get this like this. So now we can create a chart, insert, go to recommended charts, and then let's get something like this. This clustered column chart looks better. So we are able to see which ones are kind of taller. Here Gary seems to be longer, the green one is sugar, seems to be less in terms of profit per unit. So it's just to be able to compare them. Now we click here to take it out. Then we can also move this chart to our dashboard. Then we put it here, and put it down here. So let me just reduce this so that you'll see. Put it down here. Okay, let me just reduce so that you'll be able to go down better. Put it down there. Now what is the next thing? So I hope now you're really getting used to profit per staff. So let's go back to the sales again. we already have our staff here. So we are just going to go again, insert another pivot table. So remember, we are doing this because we want the pivot table to be responsive. We saw that in the last video, and it's interesting to, so remember, see, the bad staff name gives us so many confusing things, but then when you take it off and you put the right staff name, you get just the 9 staff, which is what you expected. And then we said we wanted the profit per staff. So let's go back here to our pivot here. So we just call that pivot 4, pivot 4, and then we take it this way. So we now have our staff names, and then we want the profit per staff. So we just go here, we take profit, we put it here, and then we have our profit per staff. So we could always format it again like that. So that is our profit per staff. Now we should be able to create our bar chart for this one. So let's do an insert again, go to chart, then we can get the bar chart like this one. And then if we click on OK, so another thing to do is I could sort this. Remember, sort, we have seen it in an earlier video, maybe largest to smallest, or sorting it smallest to largest like this, so that we have something like this. We are able to see clearly the performance. Rachel is up, Mary. So this is looks more interesting. Now we go back here again to our pivot thing. We take off the buttons, and then here, so we can just call this maybe again profit per staff. Oh, sorry, I'll undo. So yeah, we can leave the title, we can put profit per staff. So yeah, chart title. So we are just going to say profit per staff. So now again we go to here, move chart, go down again to the dashboard, and then we click on OK. So we have this dashboard here. So those are the requirements, and then with this requirement now saying trend of units sold over time. So if we come here to the sales again, you must now be getting used to this. It's a very interesting project. So pivot table, click on OK. So this is pivot 5, and then we want to have the units sold here, units sold, and we want to have it now over time. So you see here that you have your 2019, your 2020, you have your quota, you have all this. So you could even have them, your dates, your months. So let's say we want to insert a chart, insert. So you can see that you're going to have the quota, you're going to have things like this. So we can say OK, and then maybe we click on it, go to design, look for something, maybe yeah, we could just maybe look like put something like this or like this. And then again, remember, take off these things here, go here, take off this one. Now let's go to the, oh sorry, I'm undoing again. So let's just move this chart that way, so we can move, and then we take it to the dashboard down here, dashboard, and click on OK. So this one comes here, so I'm just going to minimize again just to fit them, put it maybe down here, and then you see we have a big dashboard there. So now you have this here. So what are some of the things again? We would love to see customer per country. So you need to get country, continent, and customer sex. So if we go here, the dashboard, we go to Just click on any pivot, anyone. Go here, then you insert now a slicer, and you're talking about country, continent, and then we need to bring in customer sex. So that's interesting to see. Let's go back again here, sales, go back here, and then we want to bring in customer sex. So customer sex. Yep, so you're now doing real life work, which is very interesting. You look up again, and then customer code, comma, go again to your customer table where your customers were from. Get this. So 1 2 3 4 5. So it's the fit, then you put 0, and then you press enter. So you now have your customer sex. So remember, we have to update the pivot tables when we have a change of data like this. So we have to go back to pivot 1, go click here, go to here, go to change data, and then we know that now it's no longer O, it's P. So let's go to P. Same thing here, just like we did the last one. Change, instead of O, getting to P. Here, change again, instead of O, getting to P again. Change this again, change source, instead of O, getting to P. And then we had pivot 5, come this way, and then we also change the source, instead of O, we go to P. So in our dashboard now, we can go back, and then we click on this one, click again on insert, click on the pivot chart analyzer, insert, and then now we have the customer sexes here. So we can click on that, and then we click on OK. So here we have our slicers, as you can see here, male, female. Then we can have also the country. So we could have them like maybe like this. We say we want 2 columns, example. Then here we bring this one under here, just to keep them in one spot. Let me just bring them closer, like this. You know, this design work, you can always design as you want. And then now here, I'm just going to add the columns so that we can have them maybe like that. So we have them like that. Click this, take this one up, so bring this one here, so we just have something like a T, which looks kind of a bit interesting. So let's just go up, do up, and then we'll look at down. So remember now that if we change anything, again, like we saw in the last video, it's just the first one that is changing. So to connect the others, we have to click here, and then we go here, and then we click now on filter connection. So we give it the ability to control these 3 slicers that we just created. Same as you come here, you do the same thing, filter, you give it the ability to control those 3 slicers that we just selected. As you can see, it changes here, and then same here, we do the filter connection, and we give it the ability to control that, just so, which means that we can always say Cameroon, what's going on. We can go to Holland, we can look at Japan, we can look at Europe, we can look at male, female, and then we can just click here to bring back everything, click here to bring back everything, click here to bring back everything, and we have this. So just want to make it look a bit good. Now we can take up the formula bar, click here, take up the grid lines and the headlines, and then maybe just give it a cool theme. Maybe if you like this one or this one or anyone you like, anyone, just take something and then maybe you can go with this. So you just need to get this together, and then you can be able to manipulate this. And so if we look at our requirements, we have done all of that. We have our sales per product, total profit per country, profit per staff, trend of profit over time. And we can slice by customer country, customer continent, customer sex. These are all here. Customer country, customer continent, customer sex. And these are the revenue per product, profit per product, and the other things. So it's interesting to know that you've done like a complete project, and you've got the data, and you've been able to build a dashboard. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is really something which it looks like what works in real life. You have to get data, clean it, and then be able to do some modeling like this, and then come up with dashboards. And this is a very valuable skill. So you can take this project, build it, put it on your portfolio, put it on GitHub, share it, and you should be able to explain all that you did. It shows that you understand both the analytics process, you have the tools and the techniques like exploratory data analysis, descriptive analysis, understand Excel, and then you're able to tell a data story with visualization. So hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the entire series. You can go back right from the first day, learn all that we have been doing up to this date, and we will pick on with SQL in the next videos, and wish you good data luck.